return ticket where you're going. This is a one-way journey. Straight down!
Let's open them up. Scrapple. Are you looking at me, Diamond?
We're losing adrenaline now.
You'll never amount to anything, Diamond.
Everybody clear! You scum!
We've lost him.
That's right, folks. Paradise Island, the island of your dreams.
You'll never amount to anything, Diamond.
Everybody clear!
Well, hello.
All that and they weren't looking.
It went on so long, I got caught with my phone out. I was like,
Outstanding.
Professional stream.
That is professional.
hey, listen. Everyone, welcome to the Retro 5. We are back with the legendary Dominik Diamond. Thank you, Mr. Diamond, for being with us tonight. We have a special guest, another special guest, just who wants to say hello to you. So here we go.
Welcome to the Retro 5, Dominik Diamond!
I thought for 1 second, oh my God, they've got Dave Perry.
Could you imagine?
Good did I forgot he was doing that.
No. Not all. Where have you been for the last 24 years since GamesMaster? Enlighten us what you've been up to, sir, please.
That's a very good question. Where have I been geographically? I've been in the Lake District, Glasgow, Edinburgh, Halifax, Nova Scotia, Toronto, Ontario, back to Halifax, Nova Scotia, back to Toronto, Ontario, and then to Calgary, Alberta, which is where I live now. So yeah, I've been all over the place. But that's what happens when you owe people money. You know, you have to keep moving.
Your council tax is rife. The council tax is rife.
Exactly.
Have you picked up any Canuck words while you're over there?
Oh, that's a great question. Yes, people get really annoyed because I've been here now. I moved to Canada 13 years ago, and so I call petrol gas. I fill up the car with gas, and when I talk to friends back in the UK, they say, "Oh, get right up yourself." So I say that. I do say candy, which is a horrible word as well.
No.
Candy's is such a dodgy word. It's like it's chocolate or it's sweet, you know. But I say candy now. I say a lot of stuff, and I don't. Sorry.
Do you say crisps?
Oh, that's an absolute nightmare. Crisps, chips, fries, just that
Exactly.
whole thing. Thank God I don't smoke anymore, because that's a complete nightmare.
You don't want to be asking for a fag.
No, nomenclature stuff like that is very dodgy. So yeah, I think I only notice it when I talk to people from the UK, and I'll slip in a Canuckism, and I get pulled up very quickly for it.
I bet you still call it a Mega Drive though.
I do. I don't call it the Genesis. Although
Okay.
That's really interesting because I've done I basically came. Well, I didn't come out here to do radio. I came out here because I bought a farm because I had a midlife crisis and didn't buy a Harley Davidson. Instead, I bought a small farm, and but then I ran out of money in a year, and so I started back in radio in Canada as a complete unknown and kind of worked my way up. But whenever I talk about video games, and I don't talk about them a lot on radio because it's mostly kind of classic rock radio is what I've done in Canada. But if I do slip in some video game stuff and I do say Mega Drive, they're just like, what? And I keep remembering sometimes I have to call it the Genesis. But actually, the Genesis is quite a cool name. And I'm not really sure what's best, Mega Drive or Genesis. Genesis is such a great name, especially when you think about what that machine did for the world of gaming. And remember, that was GamesMaster started with the Mega Drive. So the Mega Drive was the genesis of GamesMaster. So pretty good name in retrospect.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. So you've been busy then, to say the least. I mean, you ain't been sitting on your ass, so that's a good thing, I guess. I mean, but no, we've got lots of people. We've got lots of questions. Lots of people in the chat. If anyone wants to get a question to Dominik, please put it in capitals. We will try our best to get to them. We've got lots of questions already to put towards Dominik for tonight. So firstly, let's go over to. Oh, actually, where is that? Yeah, let's put this one first. Let's do this first.
Hello, Retro Beat!
So,
Hi.
Paul, hi. So, Paul, go
We're ready
ahead.
for that, will you, Paul?
Well, my first question, and this is a question from me. This is one that, well, I listened to everyone else's question and then decided what mine was going to be. And it was this: if you could be any game character in the history of retro gaming, if you could take over that character's life in any game, which character would it be, and why do you want to be that character?
Dalsim, Street Fighter 2. Who doesn't want stretchy limbs? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Would always come in useful if you're running late for work. Just get out the old stretchy limb, get there in half the time.
Okay.
What with petrol/gas prices the way they are, doesn't matter. I'll just fucking walk. So that's great. I like where I live in Calgary. It's surrounded by the Rocky Mountains. I like to hike, but because I'm getting older, my knees are buggered. So that would be quite good to, I'd get up the mountains in half the time. And if the leg and that arm stretch what else does?
Yeah, you might be
so
really.
I never thought of that.
Great question. I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that'll sound from Street Fighter 2, definitely.
Did you say good question?
Good question, gamer.
Lovely. Well done for that, Dom. You set me right up there, fella. Fantastic. Right. Okay. So, Sai, go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, my question is season 7 of GamesMaster. Is it true that it only happened because they forgot to cancel your show and didn't tell you about it, or is that a complete myth?
You know, it sounds like it should be a lie, but no, it's not. You would think that, you know, an august broadcast entity like Channel 4 would be slightly better organized. That when you send them correspondence saying, no, this is it. Series 6 is the last series we're going to do of GamesMaster, and here's a clue. Watch the last show in Series 6. We literally cancel ourselves on the air and we say that's it. But no, for some reason they didn't take us out the schedules, and literally, and it was weird because I'd gone off. I was working for Channel 5 by that point. I was doing a whole lot of sports shows for them, and then I wasn't very happy because they got me there to do a show called Live and Dangerous, and then they kept telling me I was being too dangerous. I couldn't work that out, and so I wasn't very happy there. And then all of a sudden I got a call from Johnny Finch, the producer, and he says, "You're not going to believe this." And I said, "Why?" He said, "Channel 4 have just called up saying, where's the publicity photographs for Series 7?
No.
And we said, "We're not doing a Series 7. They're like, "But we've got it in the schedules. It goes to air in like 6 weeks." And Johnny says,
"Why it's so low budget?"
He's like, I don't know how you fix it. And I said, "Listen, Johnny, I'll be there on Monday." And I phoned up and quit my shows on Channel 5. And I was just like, fantastic. So we went back. And what was great about that side was it meant that was just pure unbridled joy, because you're always in two minds.
See, from watching that one, I can see that you were free to just be yourself, let loose.
Yeah.
The jokes in it as well were really pushing the boundaries as well.
Yeah. Well, I also smile a lot. I mean, it's weird because there's obviously like two kind of eras of GamesMaster. There was the Series 1 and 2 for me, and then Series 4 onwards. And Series 1 and 2, I was a bit kind of, smiley and everything. But when I came back to Series 4, I was grumpy and I was more like myself, and it was kind of darker. But by the time it came to Series 7, I smile all the time. And it's a desert island, but it's such a light, sunny kind of thing. It's not underwater. It's not in hell or anything like that. And it was just like, because even though we'd all decided that we wanted to move on and do stuff, there's always that sadness, because these are the best mates that I ever had and the best fun that all of us had. Yeah. So you're always like, oh, that's a pity. And then so it was just like getting another chance. It was basically like it was like a stag do. It really was. It was like a stag do with TV cameras. So that's how we got people like Martin Mathers and the amazing kid with the shoot 'em up games and that. We got him back. We just got a whole load of people back that we liked, and just had an absolute. It was just wonderful, just such a laugh, great fun. I'm glad we did it.
Do you know what I like about that one though? Is not only did the jokes get more adult and everything else, but you can tell that the people who started watching GamesMaster at the beginning were a lot older by that point as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can see there was a real connection there with, and that's probably why it sticks in people's head as well, that season, because it was just an absolute right laugh to watch. Yeah. It really was.
Yeah. It was, but it was also really sad because it was, because it was the one I had the most fun doing, and I probably would have done more because it was so much fun, but we spent every episode of the last series counting down till the end, so we really couldn't have, and that was partly deliberate because we were like, okay, we've already stopped once and Channel 4 haven't taken the hint, but we're going to make it so it's impossible. Every single episode we're going to end saying, right, only 8 more shows left, 7 more shows, 6. When it comes to the final episode, we're going to dismantle the set live on air. So it really was, there was no way that we kind of could go on after that. So that was a little bit sad as well, because it was a lot of fun, and we always say, me and Johnny, the producer, we're very close. He's one of my best mates, and whenever someone says, "Oh, do you wish you'd get GamesMaster going a bit longer?" and it was like, oh boy, if we'd managed to wait till the internet took off a couple of years after that,
yeah.
we'd have been multi-billionaires.
Well,
So that's a bit
you
of
would
a
have been
bummer
there
that we
first.
didn't, you know.
But yeah, great to actually hear that, Dominic, to be honest, because I always thought it was a rumor, but
No,
you know,
true.
So how long did you have to get it up and going? Was it literally like 4 or 5 weeks to just?
Yeah.
Wow.
4 or 5 weeks, and that's why we we had that big studio. We didn't have time to find a proper, genuine location we could build around like we'd done before with churches and whatnot. So it was like, right, get a big studio, flood it with water, turn it into a desert island
pool.
And it's and it was just like and we were just very lucky that by then everybody that was involved in the show, producers, directors, designers, everything like that, they just knew the job so well. They were incredibly talented at it. Drogo Michi, who was the set designer, I still don't know how he managed to do that in that short space of time to build a genuine desert island and an ocean. But he did, because I was lucky. I was surrounded by incredibly talented people.
Great time, sounds like it.
Perfect. Right, nice one. Let's get this in.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Just to let you know, Dominic, that's one of our friends of the channel, a great guy called Ali 16 Bits and Bobs.
Yes.
He loves his GamesMaster. He's in the comments. He's probably wet himself by now, bless him. No, I'm being serious. Now
I feel really bad, right?
Why?
Because Ali emailed me and said, would you take part in one of the season 2 skits of my GamesMaster skits?
And you said no.
I said no.
I'll tell you what, if I did have the guts, I'd chuck you off this stream.
No, I said to him, listen, I don't know if I want to do GamesMaster skits or kind of piss takes. So now I feel really bad.
He's a good guy. He's a real good guy, and he did that off his back. He does lots of bits about GamesMaster and other stuff. He's a good guy. Perfect. Right, okay. Scott, over to you, my friend.
Well, my question, Dominic, is I want to know your gaming journey. I want to know the first experiences you've had of video games and how that journey progressed with your sort of consoles and computers.
You know, it's funny because I always say that my journey began with arcade games and with the ZX Spectrum. I was lucky that where I grew up, our both we had a fantastic little arcade. Oh yeah, quality. Yeah, we had a fantastic arcade at O'Brien's Pleasureland. So it had so many of that first wave of arcade games in the 70s there, and then we had a Spectrum in the 80s. But I actually just remembered the other day we had, and I don't know if any of you guys know, we had this bizarre, really sketchy, low rent black and white games machine before then, and this would have been late 70s. It came with a black and white telly. It plugged into black and white telly. There was about 5 variations of Pong on it, and that was it. And it wasn't. And what was
would
amazing
it have been a grandstand?
Like, could it be? Well, what I had, Si, was what was weird. The joystick, if I remember correctly, the joystick didn't center. So
they never did.
Yeah, so you pushed it to one bit and it just you had to pull it all the way back. Was that a grandstand?
Did it have cartridges or was it standalone?
Standalone, no cartridges.
Standalone. So that would have been probably a grandstand, because later on you would have had the Ace-Tronic and they had separate cartridges.
No, definitely.
But they all had this problem with the self-centering. And the problem is, as the games got more advanced, like you're playing Space Invaders and you can't stop Space Invaders from moving. So
I'm gonna make a note of that, actually, because I think I might write a bit about that for the Guardian at some point, from a Guardian column. So that's good. I can check. Now I know the name of it.
Can you just write in the memoirs, thanks to Side Ginger Hippy Gaming?
Sorry, you get me talking about these older things, and it just.
Do you know the weirdest thing about looking at Si is that one of my best friends in my whole life, Mikey Wilson, he was a producer of mine when I was at Real Radio and Top 107. In Scotland, one of my best friends ever. He is the spitting image of Si. He doesn't have a beard. He's not manly enough to have a beard, but he looks just like him. It's so weird.
No,
I've got 5 brothers.
You say that we're Si is our local warlock of Birmingham / Dudley / Wolverhampton. So he could be 108 years old. He could be your friend just reincarnated. Who knows?
But Mikey's a Geordie though. That's so it's from a different clan.
Oh, bless. He had a comb as well. We combed his hair today.
No, I actually straightened this. I straightened this.
Good.
It's worth
Fair
it.
play to you. You look good, Si. I would.
So back to the question. After
sorry,
so it was the grandstand. It was the grandstand. That was the first thing, and it was quite good because it meant that we got a second telly as well, which made us pretty posh because I grew up in a council estate, and so I think we were one of the few families to have a second telly, to have the kitchen telly. So it was brilliant. Yeah,
love it. Thank you, Nerdy Geezer, please.
Well, firstly, I just want to say hi, Dominic, because obviously I wasn't on the call the other day, so I didn't get to meet you.
Oh, yeah, sorry. He was doing the bank job, Dom, where you was talking about. He was
that's where it was.
Sorry.
No, I was dealing with toe rags for a living. So my question is,
what kind of toe rags were you dealing with?
Where I work, you just got people nicking stuff all the time, honestly. or trying to punch managers. That happens a lot as well.
Wow. Oh my God, you work for West Ham?
You think? Anyway, moving on to the question. Humour was obviously a big thing on GamesMaster. So I was just wondering if there was any inspiration from comedians that you watched, as you was growing up.
That's a good question. Well, I'm glad that you noticed the humour. That's always good. So nothing worse than trying to make it funny and nobody noticing. I think in terms of GamesMaster, it's interesting. I mean, my kind of comedy, I had two comedy heroes, which is Billy Connolly and Ben Elton. I think Ben Elton, I learned a lot about words and kind of how to put them together. So whereas Billy Connolly probably helped me in my kind of radio career more because he's a storyteller and radio's all about storytelling. But I think what Ben Elton told me was the kind of power of words, and also to not be afraid to put in kind of clever words. And I think that TV a lot of time talks down to viewers, and it treats viewers as if they're stupid, which they're not. And that's why so many presenters are so bland and the same, because they get their stuff written by a producer. It's on an auto cue. They don't try and do anything remotely interesting. But Ben Elton kind of taught me, no, you can put words together in a certain way and be smart about them. And people are smart and they'll get them. So I think Ben Elton, and that's a good question. I've never thought about that before. That's only just kind of clicked. Yeah, it would have been Ben Elton. Yeah.
Good choice.
Fair play, Lee. I mean,
Ben Elton.
The next question's about toilets from Lee, but the first one was a good one. The first one was spot on. So, sorry, Lee. I love you. My question is more for you, Dominic, in the terms of you've got a book coming out, the GamesMaster Oral History, which is coming out on the 6th of October.
Right.
I just wanted you to briefly, because I know, just so the guys and the girls, because I'm sure there's girls, obviously, because I'm the second best looking person on YouTube behind Sai. So my question is, can you tell us a little bit about it and what you can tell and how you kind of come to this? Because obviously it's been so long since we've seen you involved with anything with the GamesMaster franchise, if you will. Not a lot, just a little brief one, because I know you said before you can't talk loads, but just a little overview so the guys and girls can know. And I'll show a picture of the front cover, if it is the front cover, in a second once you start going, Jeff.
Well, I mean, it really is. It's as it says. It's the oral history. And so it's basically every single, well, not every single person, but about, 100, 200 people who were involved in the show in whatever way, from the boss, producers, directors, designers, contestants, celebrities, everything. It's them just basically talking about their experience with the GamesMaster show. And then, so Jack Templeton, who's a very talented guy, he's the editor. He interviewed them all and transcribed them all. And then he basically said, right, Dominic, I want you to do two things. I want you to kind of thread all these together chronologically. And at the same time, I want you to tell the story of what it was like to be so young and to be propelled from being a complete unknown to the face of not just the most one of the biggest new TV shows of its era, but of the biggest industry, and kind of what that was like, both the good and the bad. And that was what was great about Jack, was he really pushed me to kind of talk about how much. I mean, it really messed me up. I wasn't a big fan of the whole fame thing. I don't like being recognized. I thought it would be a right laugh. I mean, when I was a kid, I was like, oh yeah, let's grow up and be famous. It'll be fantastic. But then I remember when we did, we did series 1, and I knew it was a big deal because it was in all the papers, and I was doing tons of interviews and everything. But it was when we did GamesMaster Live at the Birmingham NEC, and I was only still like 23 at that time, and looking out on this kind of vast kind of cavern of thousands and thousands of people, and even that wasn't. I mean, that was okay because I was a stand-up comedian before the GamesMaster, so I kind of always hoped that one day I'd play to that kind of crowd. But it was the walking through the crowd afterwards and people talking to you. There's nothing against them; they're just being really nice and supportive, and their fans and everything. But I didn't. That freaked me out, so I was very uncomfortable with that. So a lot of the book is kind of how I dealt with that. I rather didn't deal with it, and partied pretty hard and kind of got involved with stuff, with drink and drugs and everything that I really shouldn't have, and fights, and we just went kind of a bit mad, really. But it's a cracking read. It was fucking horrible to go through, but it's brilliant to read about. So that's the book. It's kind of all the questions that you ever wanted to know about GamesMaster answered, all the great stories behind the scenes, plus what it was like, to be me during that kind of mental ride.
Is this the front cover? Because that's what's
that's the front cover. Yep, Dominik Diamond, Jack Templeton. Yep, that's it.
Right, cool. So that's the front cover. And what I've done is, I don't know, I've put in the comments already. I put a link. Oh shit, I fucking done it again. I keep pressing the wrong button here. You'd have thought by now what I'm fucking doing. Anyway, I'll put the link in again to the to the comments, so the guys can click the link straight to Amazon, purchase it, and when it comes out in October. So it's all in there, guys. And then we'll talk later about the other part of the new stuff you're doing when I get back to my one. So I'm looking forward to it. I've already ordered it.
To be honest, I think a lot of us have.
I mean, listen, there's going to be a lot of people who's going to want to get their hands on that, especially people in the comments, and there's loads of other people anyway.
A little quick question for that is, if you did that as an audio book, who would you want to narrate your book?
Oh, well, do you know, it's interesting, Si, because I absolutely love audiobooks. One of my favorite things in the world.
I'm dyslexic, so this is how I consume, books is through audio.
Well, I suffer from chronic insomnia. It's the only way I can sleep at night. So I stick an audiobook on. So I love them. I'm a massive fan, and I would love to do an audio version of this more than anything else. But the problem is, because, like I say, there's over 100 people contributing, it would be logistically impossible. I can't do that many accents. So
just get Brian Blessed to do it.
Oh yeah.
So unfortunately it can't be, but I would love that. I would love it if there'd been an audio version.
Perfect. Right. Thank you, Dom. Say I'm looking forward to reading stuff about your pants and that, because we had that conversation and it made you laugh before, which we'll talk about later. Yeah. So Paul, put your phone down or rolling the spliff or whatever you're doing.
I'm getting on a bit now, so I've got to write stuff down these days. too much wine.
But yeah, filthy animal. Right, over to you, Mr. Bate, for another question, please, sir.
Okay, well, this was my second question. Looking back at GamesMaster, out of all of the innuendo and other gaffes, can you remember which one got the most complaints? And out of all of the innuendo, which is the one that you're most impressed that you got away with, if you can remember?
Well, I can remember the one that got the most complaints because it wasn't a word gag, it was a visual gag, and it was the Christmas special of series it was Hell. So
series 4.
What was that? Series 5? No, it wasn't. No, yes, it was Hell. Yes, it was Hell. Series 5. And it was the Christmas one, and I said we were cooking Christmas lunch, and I held up, and there was a carrot and 2 Brussels sprouts on either side. And we got so many complaints about that, and they were upheld. And it was the only time that a complaint against us was ever upheld, because what's great about innuendo is that you can just say that you didn't mean anything rude, and the person who is complaining is the one that's got the dirty
Interpretation.
mind. So, you know, if someone complains about, you know, sitting in your room waggling your joystick, well, you just say, well, that's how you play a game. You fucking muppet. What's wrong with you, you sick, horrible, twisted, perverted human being? And that was genuinely our defense every single time. And we got away with it scot-free. But unfortunately, when you do hold up a carrot and 2 Brussels sprouts, and it really does look like a cock and 2 balls, then you really are kind of screwed, to coin a phrase.
And then a wild Larry came in. Larry Bundy, how are you,
Hey,
sir?
Larry.
Oh.
Larry. Probably ain't
Hey,
him
Larry.
anyway. Probably someone else. There's so many dodgy accounts now. I know it is him. I'm just, mate. Cock and balls.
Was that one that you were happiest for getting away with, or
Oh
like,
yeah, that's true.
which one, if you can remember, like, you know, when
Well,
you
I
write
mean,
it down, you must have thought, I'll never get away with this one, and then you did.
Oh, well, without a doubt, the Series 2, the what about? I'd just been outside walking around the oil rig. There's a load of semen. I've just a load of semen's just appeared. I've been wiping the salty spray from my face.
And you won.
That was
Wow.
yeah. I don't know how that's even possible that we got away.
there's
I mean, it
one
wasn't
thing
quite
that-
as bad as that. It was a little bit more clever than that. It was something like, I've just been outside to welcome in new semen in the middle of a storm. The salty spray splashing on my face. That was it.
It's a good job you weren't on BBC.
And there was also a line in that same series, and there was something about having a dry time recently because Schwarfiga supplies had run dry, and Schwarfiga is like an industrial level lubricant, and so that was another one that was quite remarkable. I think in some ways there were the Series 2, they were the kind of worst or / best because Cameron McAllister, who was the director then, he really egged me on and on and on to just keep pushing it and pushing it.
Blame him.
You know, he was a perverted genius of a man.
Oh,
It was definitely a highlight of the program.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I doubt anyone's pathetic enough to want to impersonate me. Instead of my
That sounds like Larry.
Used to speak to Dom a fair bit on the old Games Animal forums. That's from Mr. Bundy.
Was I ever going to Games Animal? Why would I be on the game? I wouldn't have been on the Games Animal forum.
Is he a liar? Is he a liar?
I might. One of the challenges for the book was, you know, like I said, I didn't handle fame terribly well. I did a lot of partying, and there are significant gaps in my memory. I mean, the 90s and the early 2000s are a little bit of a blur. I keep it's funny because we did so the publication date for the GamesMaster book has been delayed a couple of times because of global supply problems, because of COVID and whatnot. So what we did for the people who backed the Kickstarter launch, we did a little mini electronic book. Same thing we did with GamesMaster, but with When Games Attack, which is the show I did on Bravo afterwards with some of the same team. And the editor, Jack Templeton, said, "Oh, I want you to write a bit about when you interviewed Kirk Ewing about his JFK Reloaded, his Kennedy assassination game." And I'm like, no recollection whatsoever. And that was on telly. That was on the no record. I didn't even know. And the thing is, Kirk didn't either. Kirk was just like, did we do that? It was really good as well. It was really funny. So there's sadly, unfortunately, and I know, you know, we have a bit of a laugh about it, but I mean, really do not do drugs, you know.
Well, you say that, and I've got a message here. This is a famous saying: "Cocaine is a hell of a drug," which is the old was it Frank Murphy from Dave Chappelle, which is another hilarious skit.
Oh yes, that's right. Yes, it is
with Rick James,
Eddie Murphy's brother.
James,
Yeah,
bitch. Fucking love that. Right, so thank you. Let's do this one.
Hello, Ginger Hippy Gaming.
Oh, fucking hell, I love this. Si, over to you, my friend.
Yeah, my next question is: how did you actually get the job as the Games Master?
Oh,
what's the story behind that one, or can you not say?
No, I can say it. It's funny because
what did he say? Did he kill
just the
anyone? Did you kill anyone?
No, it's no.
Oh,
I failed to get I've got a lot of jobs because I've failed to get the job I got for, and then got another one, So I tried for The Word on Channel 4 when they had
What a show! What a show
for a presenter. It was brilliant. I loved that show. Absolutely loved the show. It was my absolute dream to be on it. And yeah, I got to the last 12, didn't get any further. And the GamesMaster people were very lazy, and they were based in the same part of London as the people who produced The Word. And they just said, look, is there anyone you've seen who basically wears glasses? Have you seen anyone who looks like a bit of a nerd? And this guy. And so that was it. Yeah, so that was it. So I was very lucky because I was really so depressed that I didn't get the award because it was my absolute dream. So I'd only been out of university for a few months, and I was doing stand-up, and it had gone all right, but I was on the London circuit, and it's really hard to do stand-up when you're like 21. It's way too young to do it. And so I was just like, oh no, what am I going to do with my life now? And so I went back up to, I was working for, it was Abbey National as a security guard at night at the same time. It was a brilliant job. Tell you what, security guard is a fantastic job because you just sit there, you watch the telly, and now and again you look at the CCTV thing, and then you walk around with it. Really, it's a great job. You just walk around now and again, deal with tow rags, deal with people nicking stuff.
He tends to see his job's really hard as well.
Yeah, he told us all the time.
It is where I work, trust me. It's South East London. What do you expect?
Whatever. You've been blown now, Lee. Cover's blown.
He's done it, mate. He walks around and just looks at fucking backwards. He's laughing.
It's the best job. Listen, Si, you can just have audiobooks on all the time when you're a security guard. You probably get through War and Peace in a week.
Oh, fair enough. Cool. So that was you then. Right. Thank you, Si. Now let's there we go.
Hello, Sega Zombie!
he genuinely has that much energy in real life. Why
didn't they get him to do the GamesMaster character in the reboot? Why didn't they get Ali to do it? He'd been brilliant. Yeah. Everybody always wanted Brian Blessed, and he just does as good a job.
Listen, old Ali, he's a legend. Unfortunately, there's a man with a big net running around looking for him, trying to catch the fucker because he's a lunatic.
And he's a great guy. Trying to nick stuff from Lee's work.
Scott, please, mate. You're
well, Ali's my Sega brother, and we've both got this question to Dom, and that is Sega or Nintendo?
Well, that's a very easy question for me to answer right now because I've just been signed up to be a monthly columnist on Sega Powered magazine. So, Sega all the way, 1 bazillion %. Definitely. Not even close.
Is Nintendo Alex in the chat?
I need. He is in the chat. Where he's been messaging, but he needs to get Alex because Alex is another great guy of the channel who comes on, done stuff with us. Nintendo Arcade, he's got great collection, awesome.
But guy. I mean, it was like it wasn't really any contest in the 90s because Nintendo came up with some fantastic machines and some great games, but there was only ever about 5 of them. Every machine they made the same mistake again and again and again. Whereas Sega just absolutely just spunked the games out. I mean, it was incredible. The choice you had was absolutely phenomenal. And
Scott actually has a full set, so they're all over his
When you go back to the 90s, it was cool to play Sega games.
Yeah.
It weren't so cool to play Nintendo games.
No, Nintendo was for kids. Sega with the marketing, all those the Razer ads and everything. They positioned the brand phenomenally. Really, really clever. They were very, very clever guys.
That's why I flipped up and said Alex, because that's Alex Nintendo Arcade.
Hi, Alex. I swear to you, Scott didn't pay him to say that. It's true. Fucking hell. I've got a question here, but I don't want to ask it yet because I don't know if Si's going to ask it later on about.
No, just ask away.
All right, cool. So while we're here, let's ask this question because a few people with us five here, we're all. I've just got into 8-bit thanks to Si, but the other 4 guys have been into 8-bit for ages. Now, surely as Paul would back me up here, the far superior system is the Commodore. Is it
No.
not, Paul?
Yes.
It depends what you grew up with.
What do you think, Dominic, please? Just and try and keep it short and sweet, because Commodore is a very quick word to say.
I nearly spat my drink out him.
Sorry, bro. Sorry, bro.
I mean, but Amiga wasn't 8-bit though. Amiga was 16-bit, yeah.
Yeah, that's the next.
So what was before the Amiga then? What was the Commodore one that was 8-bit?
Exactly. See, Dom doesn't even know what a Commodore.
No, it does. Bless him. Look, it's the time difference. It's got jet lag or something.
No, before the Amiga, it didn't even factor into my kind of.
Oh yeah.
You got a double win
Right.
there, Scott.
Guys, thanks for watching. I've been Retro Share. Fuck this. All right. So obviously
The thing is, the C64 was a rich kid's computer. That's all it was.
all right. Mine's
Right. Okay. So here's my one experience with a C64. Okay. I can't believe I just had a brain fart and forgot about that. Right. So when I was growing up, so in my house, and so like I said, we grew up, we had the ZX Spectrum and everything. Our neighbours, Sandra and Jim Leith, they had a Commodore 64, which was pretty posh for kind of where I grew up. And I used to babysit for their kids, and I went around one night and I'm like, okay, let's because okay, if I play the Commodore 64 when the kids are in bed, yeah, sure, Dominic, on you go, fine, right? So I don't know what the other power lead was for, but it was basically 2 power leads, right? And I put the wrong one in the back. I turned it on and I fried their Commodore 64. So that was my first experience with the Commodore 64, and I was really embarrassed. And so obviously when they came back, and how was the evening? I say, well, listen, I mean, it was all right apart from the fact that your kids have fucked up your Commodore 64.
Love it.
Well,
I think being a Spectrum owner, it was like a subliminal kind of thing where you had to destroy that Commodore 64.
I think this is quite fitting for now.
You've fallen asleep.
I think Dominic must have fallen asleep there and talked a bit of fluff, because I'm sure he said Commodore. Right. Sega Zombie. Done yours. Where is this one? Right, here we go.
Hello, nerdy geezer.
You need to do something with Ali, please, Dominic. Please. If you do anything in life, please just do something.
At some point in the future, let's make a vague, non-committal commitment.
Ali, you're watching. Ali. I've sold you out, bruv.
Based on his sterling performance.
I'll have a chicken shish and a bag of chips, mate, because he's Turkish Cypriot. Anyway, Lee, take us away, mate, with your question, brother.
Right. Okay. So everyone in the chat will know this. I'm the resident Star Wars geek of the Retro 5. So anyone who ever does, yeah. Really? So this is a kind of a Star Warsy sort of question. So obviously you was lucky enough to interview Mark Hamill, and on one of your interviews, I'm sure I heard you say that you're taking your kids to see the new Disney Star Wars movies. Mm-hmm. So my question is, what is your favorite Star Wars movie?
That's a good question. I have to say, I can't. I normally have the photo down there. It's actually my screensaver on my computer. It's me interviewing Mark Hamill, because it was the greatest thing that I ever did. It was just the most. I still kind of pinch myself. I can't believe that I managed to do that. And it's also one of the few things that impresses my kids, is that when I show them that fun, they're like, oh. And what's weird is that they go, oh my God, there's Mark Hamill. Who's that guy beside him? Hang on. So you know what? I hate to say Empire Strikes Back because it's the kind of cliched one, but it is an absolutely phenomenal movie, and it has the guts to end on a downer. And I thought that was really brave. And this was. It seems that every movie trilogy now has the second one end on a downer and end on a cliffhanger. And I think it's almost got a bit lazy. But I think Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back was one of the few that did that for a legitimate reason. And I think the reason that they did that, well, the reason I like to think they did that is It was such a jaw-dropping moment. It will never be topped in movies. Luke, I am your father. That you had to end the movie then. You couldn't, you had to just, right, I've got to sit down here. I've got to let that sink in. And if you'd carried on and like wrapped it up and like say squashed the fucking Ewoks into 30 minutes at the end of it, you wouldn't have even concentrated. You needed to stop that movie, get the hell out the cinema, and even at 9 years old that I was, have a big fucking drink and go, okay, what have we just processed? And I think that's a movie ending that will never ever be taught. And then it just gets, it gets cruel because it's bad enough that he's his dad, but then he gets his fucking hand cut off as well, and it's just like, what? It's bad enough. You know what I mean? The worst guy in the world is your dad, but then he cuts your hand off. So I think that I think it's incredible, absolutely incredible movie. I hate the prequels; they're just absolute fucking dog shit. Just an absolute mess. Awful dialogue. I like the sequels. Sequels were great, and even the Han Solo movie, I thought was really good. I thought
my favorite is Rogue One.
Rogue One is an absolute masterclass because it's Seven Samurai. It's like a spaghetti western kind of thing, and it's just an absolutely incredible standalone movie. And but no, Empire is definitely my favorite.
Good man, totally agree with you.
I actually have an original. It's one of my most prized possessions. Which ironically enough, I don't know where it is just now, but I have an original shooting script from Star Wars where it's still it's an early draft because I did a documentary for Radio 1 when the prequels came out. I did an official Star Wars documentary, and that was great because I got to interview the likes of Dave Prowse and people like that, and so I got the producer at one point gave me this original shooting script, and I forgot to give it back to him. And so it's still called The Adventures of Luke Starkiller in it. So it's it's a really early draft.
Oh wow.
But you can tell it's not it's not, well, I don't know, because it's not, there's like notes in it, but they're like photocopied, so it's not like handwritten notes. So I'm not sure, But I love it.
You know what these Star Wars fans are like, though. They'll buy anything.
Well, there's a fair few in the comments. There's loads of people actually saying about their favourite Star Wars video game.
What about the game?
One?
Oh, X-Wing, the original X-Wing on the PC. That first time that you could actually do those, aerial gun battles, and with the sound. That first time you heard the TIE fighter sound coming over the top of you. I thought that was a brilliant game. And it's actually, I was just thinking about it this week, because when you had the Bethesda launch of their games, and they had this game Starfield, which is basically taken Fallout and made it an intergalactic exploration game. But one of their kind of things that they're punting on it is it's not just a character kind of design, but you can design spaceships and have those aerial dogfights and gun battles. Nice. And I was thinking, that's interesting, actually. I'm trying to think of the last time that I played something like that,
Sounds really good.
Yeah, they're trying to say it's a rip-off of No Man's Sky in it, but it's really,
Well, I mean,
I wanted to.
It is in a way, but No Man's Sky is also a rip-off of Elite. You couldn't go down the planet, I think it's going to be good, and I like what I loved as well about X-Wing and TIE Fighter as well was that I had a great quick shot proper kind of flight. It was the first kind of proper flight joystick that I ever had, and it was just it was glorious to play it like that when you had all your kind of buttons programmed, and it was just that wonderful. It's one of those great little gaming moments when the targeter turned. I can't remember if it was red and it went to brighter white, but when you were flying around, looping the loop, getting disoriented, and then you would just lock onto it, and that moment you got that little lock on was just one of the greatest, like, orgasmic gaming moments that you could have. It was brilliant.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's answered that, then, I guess. That's answered that question. That's
I did play what's the FPS one?
Battlefront too.
Battlefront, right? So
you got
my son Charlie was really into that game, and I played it once with him, 2-player, and I was just absolutely awful. Absolutely, just embarrassed. I let him down. 2-player co-op, let him down.
I think
Hey,
my
what's
favorite
the
Star
carry
Wars
on.
game. It's got to be the Lego ones. I play them with my son, who's 5.
Oh,
And playing
yeah.
Lego Star Wars with him, it's just like we've got such a bond going, and we already know each other's roles. I do the hard bits. He comes in and takes the glory. It's it's really good, like father-son time, and it's a really good game.
Do you know what? That's a great point. And to say something positive about Nintendo, I feel I've been really kind of negative about.
Well done, Dominic. Well done, mate.
One of the best gaming experiences of my life was very similar to that, and it was with Super Mario Sunshine, and it was with my oldest Molly, and she would have been about. So we were still in Scotland, so she's probably about 6 or 7, and she did the levels. And I did the bosses, and we did that over a summer, and we just got so close. And that was probably the first time. That was how she really kind of fell in love with games. And now, she's in her mid-20s, and she's probably the biggest gamer. Like, she'll play Zelda and replay every single Zelda one. And it started with that parent-child game experience. It's great. No, it's good that you do that. Yeah.
Just got lots of people just sending their love and stuff like that, which is nice.
Thank you.
Lots of questions, but we still got plenty of time because I ain't letting Dominic go until we get all the questions in. So he's not going anywhere. Anyway, no.
Well, can I just say that I know you're going to plug it later, but can I just say now, if there are people that are showing lots of love, if you can go onto my Twitter at Dominik Diamond, and there's details. We'll talk about it later, but there's a podcast / column thing that I do every week, so you can sign up for that. So that's
my next question.
Okay.
Okay. So my question is rewind. Just pretend we didn't do that. So obviously, this is the lovely picture that you have on your page and whatnot. So this is something else you're doing. This is when me and you were first talking, which was a couple of weeks ago now, which was fantastic. And I still thought it was an imposter. And
you did.
When I had you guys, when I had you on the stream, I was like, "He's in the fucking bottom. He's in the bottom of the stream," and you were there.
That's why he started talking about your pants. He was nervous.
I got nervous.
It's the same guy that's pretending to be Larry Bundy. Is it the same guy? There's just one guy that's pretending to be all these gaming names of repute.
Hey, look, there is some of them
surprised.
on YouTube.
Yeah,
there was one.
Really?
Yeah, last year.
Believe it.
There was a troll.
Was on.
There's all sorts. But yeah, so like I said, this is your little old purple column. Now, when we were talking, you were saying about what you're doing, and obviously you sent me the link. I went on it, and I was like, "This is you." But tell us a little bit about it, because obviously you can subscribe to, which is awesome. There's little free bits you can listen to. It's a real good listen, guys. Definitely get into it. But Dom, please share where it come from and why you're doing it. Like what kind of gives you your inspiration behind doing it?
I had 2 reasons really. Was so I wrote a piece on Spec for The Guardian about 6 months ago now about frustrations that I was having with FIFA, playing FIFA online, because of the horrific, violently toxic nature of that online community, and just the horrible way that EA cynically gets you to stump up microtransactions for coins. And I'd done it for years and years and years. And basically because I didn't have a lot of time to play games, because I was trying to claw my way up the fucking radio ladder in Canada, which is hard when you're a foreigner. And but I still played FIFA, guaranteed 2 hours a night FIFA, because I just got really into playing Ultimate Team online. And as a result, I missed out on a lot of games. So I made the decision. I'm like, right, that's it. I've had enough of it. I hate it more and more every year. And all my kids kept saying to me, "Dad, try this game, Zelda Breath of the Wild." No, it's not FIFA. And so basically, I wrote this piece about for The Guardian, saying how after 30 years or something, because I was one of the first people to ever play FIFA. I went down to Electronic Arts office in Slough in 1993 or whenever it was.
Wow.
And played it every single year. And so this was a kind of big deal for me. And then the editor had said, well, if your plan now is to go back and try out these games, the last 10, 20 years that your kids have loved that you haven't been into because of FIFA, but why don't you write about you discovering these games? And I'm like, brilliant. So it's, it was kind of from the niche of kind of dad gamer kind of. And then So I started playing a lot of games again, and I started loving them again. And at the same time, they decided to reboot my TV show. And obviously, I woke up every morning, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of messages from people pissed off that I wasn't involved in it. So I felt like there was people who wanted a kind of a Dominik Diamond gaming thing out there, who had, like me, had been absolutely devoted to games in the 90s. But then, real life kind of gets in the way, and jobs and careers and kids, and you don't have time to play quite as much. And then all of a sudden, when you try to get back into games, and you're like, oh, here's a new Call of Duty, I'll try and play that online. What the fuck is happening? Everybody's swearing at me and saying, everybody's saying they want to rape my sister, and everybody's like dabbing me after they kill me automatically. And can't we just go back to Mega Man? And so I kind of had so much that I wanted to talk about things like that. And the Guardian column is, it's one column a month. There's not a lot of real estate in newspapers to talk about games. So I thought, right, I'll do it myself. And then I found out about this thing called Substack, which a lot of writers that I like have gone on to, because it allows you to deal directly with punters. You don't have to go through an editor or a publication. And it also allowed you to record an audio version of this as well. And I thought, well, based on what people were saying about the reboot, then, people miss kind of hearing me talk about games. So that was it. So I thought I'll do that. And I sat down for a couple of weeks and I thought, right, let's just wait and let's try writing some stuff and recording some stuff and see if it's got legs. And I wrote about 20,000 words in a couple of weeks of stuff that I really cared about. Wow. And it was everything from, me trying things like Subnautica that my kids love and my problems with it, to remembering classic arcade games and writing poems about Space Invaders and Pac-Man and all that stuff. So it's quite open and it's quite kind of free, and it can kind of be anything. And there's a free version which is like 750. Well, it's probably more 1,000 really, and that's like about an 8-9 minute free version every week. And then there's a version for paid subscribers which is like 30 minutes long, kind of like 3,500-4,000 words, and I love it. I absolutely love it. It's because it's like, I've spent most of my career after GamesMaster being told what I can't say, right? GamesMaster was great because I was in charge and I could do what I liked, but unfortunately the rest of the media is not like that. So I spent a lot of years in Canada doing radio, which I've loved and it's been great, but it's all about, no, you can't say this and you can't say that. But what's great with this is I'm completely independent, I'm completely unbridled, I'm completely unfettered. I'm not, I'm not in the enthrall of any games publisher. No one's sending me review copies or anything like that. I'm paying my own way. So some things I really love, some things I really hate. And it means that when I get something like just now I'm playing, and I know I'm very late to this party, Horizon Zero Dawn.
Nice.
It's blowing my mind. And it's taken me back to like how I felt playing Final Fantasy VII. In the 90s, just that all enveloping game where you wake up in the morning and you just want to play it, and you play it last thing at night, and you even forget to have a beer because you're enjoying playing it so much. You're like, it's 10 o'clock. What feels weird? I'm sober. How did that happen? Because I'm just loving this game. So it's great. I'm having a lot of fun doing it.
So Bernardino, Rob, another good friend, another brother from another mother, has put a link in the bottom to the Twitter for me. So guys, jump on that. Go and have a look. Subscribe to it. Just enjoy it. It's just something. And I'll be honest with you, Domin, I'm not just saying this because you're here. I do love you. But other than that, what I'm going to say is it's good to have you back, if you get me. Because you were on our TVs for a long time. I watched over and over GamesMaster, recorded them, played them back probably like most of us did. I watched it when it was on Bravo or whenever the reruns was, or however it was. I can't remember now. So it's just good, it's good to hear you again.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Not in a homosexual way, just in a good way.
That's okay. That's fine.
What's really relevant, I think, and why it captures us all, the GamesMaster, is because you made gaming not just nerdy, but very cool. Do you know what I mean? And that's why I draw to Sega, because it tried to make it cool, and the GamesMaster hit at the right time, I think.
See, that is really interesting you say that, because so much of the book is about me struggling with the coolness of the show. And
Wow.
I'll tell you why, because there's a lot of stuff I hated doing season 2. And even though this was 3 million viewers, one of the biggest shows on Channel 4, and I hated it because I hated the way that I looked. I hated how I had to dress. And it was the last time that anyone ever told me what to wear on a TV show. And this is what I hated, was that I thought I looked really uncool. And coming from the word, I wanted to do the word because it was cool. And I always felt that the reason I didn't get the word was because I wasn't cool enough. There was all these people there who were better looking and everything. So it was a bit of a chip on my shoulder about that. And it's so weird hearing, and it's wonderful and it's great hearing from so many people about how GamesMaster was cool. And I like the fact that we gave, quote unquote, nerds, geeks, whatever, something that was cool. And I hear from when we launched the Kickstarter on the book, and I was utterly bowled away by how many people would message me saying, I was a kid. I didn't have a lot of mates when I was young. I was a bit of a geeky kid. I liked computers and everything. I got bullied at school because of it. Then the show came on telly about what I loved, about what kind of marginalized me, and it made it cool. And I got all these friends because of it. And it was this little bit of light in my life, and it made my childhood so much better. And I just think to be able to do that to people, I've got 3 kids whose lives fucking have not made happier in the slightest. But to think that I've done that with other kids out there is absolutely fantastic. If you can make, because childhood's shit, man. Childhood's horrible. It's a nightmare. It's just pain and angst and exams and fancying a girl that doesn't fancy you back, and it's just like, and not being able to afford to do the stuff you want, and not being able to go for a drink because you're not old enough. So I think if you can do anything that makes people's, kind of childhoods just a bit better and a bit happier, that's absolutely fantastic. And there's so many people who also said, oh, I'm a programmer now because of GamesMaster. I work for Sega now because of GamesMaster, and I look at, guys like yourselves who did the amazing stuff that you guys put on YouTube. And I know, having, tried
Thanks, Tom.
I tried to do Twitch for a little while during the first lockdown, and it's a nightmare. I couldn't do it. The stress was too much, having to do all the buttons and everything. So I know how hard it is to do the kind of thing that you guys are doing and to keep it going. It's easy to do it for a couple of weeks and then go, oh fuck, this is stressful, right? But to keep it doing that is incredible, and I'm really kind of proud that GamesMaster played a part in in that.
It's played a big part in a lot of people's lives.
Yeah,
that's the
it
thing.
did. Yeah. When it ended, that was really sad. I mean, I even watched the last episode again today on YouTube, and even watching it today, you do feel it. It's still
it's a belter. It's a belter. Yeah. And what's interesting was that was the first thing I wrote when after I got off the phone with Johnny Finch, and he said, oh, they forgot to take it out of the schedules. We've got to turn this around in 4 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever. And I sat down and I had in my head that last episode. Yeah. And I wrote that last bit straight away. It was the first thing I wrote that whole series. And so it was really interesting that I knew how it was going to end, and I worked back from that. So I was so pleased. It was quite ballsy and quite risky. I can't think of any other TV show that had done that before, to deconstruct the whole set, at the end and be completely like out of character and persona. It was the first time the features obviously I'd wore, but it's the first time I'd wore my normal clothes and on a GamesMaster set, and you had the Castaway, the girls, they came out and they were in their normal clothes and everything like that. So I thought that was years before people invented postmodernism and fourth wall and shit like that. So that was quite cool.
I just want to that comment from another good friend from all of us. Amazing where this YouTube probably takes you. Look at you 5 tonight. I thought he was going to say something like, we're all a bunch of cunts, but instead he's put talking with someone from our childhood. Great stuff. Pete on the retro tip, you are a legend, my friend. You are a fucking legend.
Yeah, I second that.
Yeah.
Well, let's not
help all of us out though. Pete has.
No,
how many of our intros were made by Pete, and he's helped everyone along the way. He really does.
Yeah, he's done mine, but the filthy animal, I've got 6 board games in my fucking living room. They've been here for about 4 months now. Send me to Brentwood to go and get them. I still fucking got them. I do love him. But anyway, That was my question. Dominic, is there anything else you want to add about the?
No, that's good. That's good. No, thank you. That's the plug done.
Good.
It's good.
Yeah, and like I said,
I've been listening to the podcast or the, and yeah, it is really good. It is.
Yeah, that's good. And I'll get. I mean, I started off because I was really You can kind of fart around and delay with these things, infinitely. So I kind of started them, and then I keep adding little kind of bits of production and sound effects. And instead of like if I mention a game now, I'll put a little bit of music underneath, which I didn't do at the start. And then I realized, you know what? Hang on a second, you're actually a fucking award-winning radio presenter. You really should be putting some shit underneath that. You know what I mean? So it's constantly evolving. That's what I like. It's kind of constantly evolving.
What I like about it though is it's one thing that comes through is your passion comes through with it, and I think that's what everyone enjoys.
Yeah. But I think I have to now, because I think that, with YouTube shows like you guys and podcasts by people, that is what it absolutely is fueled by passion. Because if you don't have that passion, you can't do it, because you guys have all got your day jobs, and it's fucking hard to do that and come home at the end of the day and do anything. So you have to have the passion. So if I can't match that passion, then I shouldn't have any business doing it.
No. Well, you well said. And like I said, it's an honest, good listen. Please jump all over it. Nintendo Arcade, just don't invite Pete to barbecue, or he'll bring raw squid. Well,
what's wrong with raw squid?
Yeah, well, there's nothing wrong with it. But right, Paul.
But surely if you were bringing the raw squid to a barbecue, the point was that you were going to cook it. I mean, nobody goes, oh, you brought raw beef burgers to a barbecue. That's the whole fucking point. You don't bring the stuff cooked.
Who do you think cooked it? The chef above you?
Well, normally I cook at people's barbecues, Mr. Zombie. Love you.
Yeah, you cooked at mine, didn't you?
Your birthday party. I
Turn up as a guest and you end up
drink a few
cooking.
beers, I end up fucking cooking. But it's all good.
What's your speciality then?
Oh, you have to ask that stupid wanky question that
No,
every
lads,
fucker asks me. No, so I'm.
To be honestly, we're asking Dominic the same questions everybody else.
No,
thank you.
Fucking hell, Si, I'll fucking
What did you want to be?
if you carry on. So I'm classically French trained, so I'm a Michelin star chef. That's my level. So my inspiration is mainly Mediterranean. I love Arabic, Turkish cuisines. I love the idea that they use spices and herbs and different fruits to flavor their rices, their couscouses, and their meats.
Yeah.
I'm really good at that. My wife's Turkish Cypriot. Big up the Turkish Cypriots.
Ali's out there.
And,
that's it, isn't it? Because couscous. That I've got like I've got one vegan daughter, one vegetarian daughter. So I've had to really transition. I'm not allowed to cook meat in the house, so I've had to transition to a lot of vegetarian stuff. And couscous. See if you'd said that to Dominik Diamond in the 90s, you're going to have couscous for lunch, I would have said that. I fucking love it. And you're right. And it's the sultanas and the raisins and the fruits and all that stuff. It's brilliant. It's vegetarian cuisine from the Middle East is absolutely gorgeous.
It's, they cook with passion. That's every one of my Mediterranean chefs. I've got Moroccan chefs. I mean, I know they're Arabic, but Mediterranean Italians, Moroccans, Tunisians, they all cook with passion and they all know about spices. And that's what's for me, being a 40-year-old chef and working with people from around the world and working in high-level restaurants and establishments. I've learned so much from those people, being an English boy from North London, having kebab and chips with burger sauce. That's my forte. But I haven't got a specific dish, but I think generally I'm a great pastry chef. I was taught pastry first because most chefs can't do pastries. It's because it's science. Doing pastry, So I was pastry taught. So my old man was a butcher. So most restaurants, hotels, the starters and desserts are on the same section. So I just did that and then went up. But best dish, I couldn't tell you, Dom. I'm happy to fly to Canada and to cook.
I would love to be a butcher. I know this sounds strange, having
Oh no,
been
good
in
job.
a vegetarian household, but I think it's an incredible job. I think that I'm a big believer. I know we're getting really way off the point. Sorry for the people who are tuning in wanting to hear about games.
Food's always welcome.
I think there is that there's no greater respect for an animal than nose to tail eating. So people who can take that and get all kinds of cuts, I think it's an incredible science, and that way that you take the kind of the fattier cuts of meat and you cook them slower and differently. That level of science, I think butcher is an incredible skill. It's like it's art, absolute art.
Yeah, it's a dying art because obviously in the industry, you can buy your cannons of lamb, your noisettes of lamb, your ribeye. You can buy that. Whereas with me, I like to show the young commies, the commie chefs, the new guys, get a chateau of beef in. So the half-ass of the cow, we cut off the ribs for the Jacob's ladders. We cut off the sirloin, the fillet. I mean, I could wax lyrical all day, Dom. Don't mug me off.
I love all this stuff. I do. I love all this stuff.
But yeah, no. So I can cook pretty much anything, to be honest with you, sir.
Cool.
Sorry,
guys.
Can I just say though that just before the stream started, Lee Nerdy Geezer had his takeaway cancelled.
Oh,
so talk of food.
At the moment, my stomach's like.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I've got a steak nail pie just waiting for I've got an I always have an emergency pie when I'm on a stream for if I get really hungry. And I've got a steak nail pie. That's the emergency pie.
Advice to live by: always have an emergency pie for all kinds of situations. That's good.
You just never know.
Right. No, yeah, so that's cool. Right.
Hello, Retro Beat!
So, I think I'm lucky enough to be the first person to ask a question. We put this out on Twitter, on Instagram, on the Facebook, on our community tabs on YouTube, and we did get a huge response. So we've got lots of questions that people have from the community that have given us to put to you. So this is the first one, and it's from quite a popular YouTuber, Mr. Larry Bundy. Our good friend Larry, he was on the previous episode. Great guy. Yeah, everyone knows Larry. He really is the guru. I've had him on the Retro Gamer Quiz, and
and he beat everyone.
Well, he went up against this guy here, who's our champion. He's got his champions T-shirt on, and he's already to have beat Scott last year. But his question's this. He says, Dom, you were a huge fan of Sensible Soccer back in the day.
Yeah.
However, what does he think about the later games in the series, especially the 3D reboot on the PlayStation 2?
Yeah, it didn't work. And also, I played the Xbox version. I did a little roundup recently for a Guardian column where I was trying to introduce my son. My son doesn't play sport at all, which has obviously been a major problem. That's why I don't love him as much as his sisters who did. So I tried to introduce him to sport by playing 90s sports video games, and one of them was Sensible Soccer. And so, but I found it almost impossible to play with an Xbox controller. I don't know if it's the fact that because so much of Sensible Soccer, you were moving in the joystick in the opposite direction afterwards. So you need a proper shaft to not put too fine a point in it. So whether it was the cheetah bug was the one I used to use, and you just don't get that same pullback with a Mega Drive, with an Xbox joypad. So yeah, I was a little bit very disappointed with that, and it should never have gone. It should never have gone 3D. It was brilliant. It was the way it looked was part of its charm. I would have and I feel the same about ZX Spectrum loading screens. I would have a Sensible Soccer screenshot signed by John Hare and Joes and those guys. I'd have that on my wall framed. I think it's art. It's just such a beautifully designed game, and the whole point was it was top down, and that's what made it look beautiful.
I'm pretty sure that the guys from Sensible, there is a few of them, and someone online does make like screenshots, with like different layers of Sensible, and you can get them signed. I'm not sure if was it Stu? He's called Stu.
Yeah, STOO. That's right. Yeah, that guy. Yeah,
I can't remember his second name, but He's one of the guys that like he's always happy to like sign them. Yep, Stu Cambridge. That's the guy.
Stu Cambridge, yeah.
And
it was weird because because Jules, who whenever we had the Sensible Soccer tournaments every year, for some reason it's always Jules I ended up playing against. He always knocked me out. He ended up moving to Nova Scotia just after I left Nova Scotia in Canada, which was the most bizarre, because I'd never even heard of Nova Scotia before I moved there. And then to have this link with my past, moved there, but unfortunately I'd jumped out. I'd gone off to Toronto. But they were great guys. John Hare as well, absolute legend of a guy. Good guys, really good guys.
What do you ever think of the was it the Cannon Fodder Sensible Soccer crossover? Did you ever play that?
No, I didn't know.
Was that not on a cover disc? I think it was.
I was good. Yes, that's right. It was an Amiga magazine cover disc. That's right. Yeah.
Cannon Soccer.
Remember that. Yeah.
Cannon Soccer. That was it.
Yeah.
We had to blow up the footballers before you went off and killed everyone else.
Right. Thank you, Paul.
Hello, Ginger Hippy Gaming.
Right. I have a question here from Craig Goodwin, and it starts off with, I'm really crap at asking questions. So his question is,
good start.
If you could eat, yeah, exactly. That's why I put it in there. And he says, if you could eat any one sandwich for the rest of your life, what would it be? And he continues with, I need to know everything from the bread, if it's toasted, a bit like a Subway sandwich artist.
Yeah, no, that's a fair play, because you have to get it right.
Top topics here. This is professional shit.
Yes.
See, it's interesting because there's a lot of sandwiches that I really miss, meat-based sandwiches, because of the vegetarian regime that I live under. So it would have to be. Do you know what? Actually, I'll go quite kind of chavvy, right? I'll go quite down market, cheap and cheerful. So I would like I'd like a baguette. Would be great, but some sliced roast beef and some mozzarella that I've melted in the microwave. I'd like to grill it, but the problem is if I've got to sneak that in the house, then if I grill it, it smells microwave. It's a bit, because what I can do, I can microwave it 30 seconds with a cheese, take out, and then put a little bowl of lemon water in there afterwards to take the smell away. So
he's really thought about this.
Kitchen tips.
So yeah, it would be sliced roast beef, melted mozzarella. I'd put a couple of pickles on it, a little bit of lettuce, a little bit of tomato, not too much, and then I'd do this. What's the guy's name? I can't remember. But anyway, he's one of my favorite food authors. He does a thing called the Food Lab, and it's a real scientific thing about food. And he has his fries sauce, which is basically it's almost like your McDonald's secret sauce. So it's a recipe he has with that, which has got your mustard, your mayo, your dill vinegar from the pickle jar, and a bit of tomato ketchup and a bit of cayenne pepper and a bit of sugar. Mix all that together, and I'd have a little bit of that on the top of it. So
I'm gonna have to go get my emergency pie at this rate. Like,
pass it down to Lee.
Yeah, pass it down to me.
His stomach, I can hear it.
Do you know what I saw the other day though? My wife came back, and I think she'd got some food from Costa, and it was a sandwich on what's it called? Sourdough bread. And I know what's inside it? Nice. Mac and cheese.
Oh no,
mac and cheese. That was it, and that's been sold in Costa.
Mac and cheese is a huge thing in Scotland. Is that right, Dominic, or what? Like,
yeah, it is. Well, I mean,
I have seen the mac and cheese pies.
You can buy pies.
Yeah.
Mac and cheese pies.
My wife's from Scotland as well, so I mean, and her parents are up there, so I get a lot of this stuff from them.
I have a problem when you go carb inside carb, right? I think the only time it works is a chip. I think a chip butty or a crisp sandwich works, but anything else, macaroni inside a pie doesn't quite work. I do miss actually. There's not. I love Canada. I really do. But there's certain things I really miss about the UK, and I miss Marks and Spencer sandwiches. I miss the ham and cheese sandwich from Marks and Spencer. I miss the prawn sandwich from Marks and Spencer's, man. Oh boy, that was killer, man.
I swear this stream now has just turned into torture.
I think we should all see what our favorite sandwiches. I'm dying to know what everyone's favorite sandwich is now.
I'm getting wet, and it's not the type of wet I was expecting.
Salivating, right?
I'm salivating, but not. Anyway, that's another stream. Right.
Can I just add, while we're talking about food here, every time one of us mentions in our WhatsApp group, which Chef is part of, every time we mention about cooking something, we get the full lowdown from Lee on how to do it, don't we?
That's good.
Ingredients and everything.
But nobody dares tell him that it's in the microwave.
Yeah.
Hey,
Don't say you're going to put brown sauce on it.
that's how we do it. All right, hang on. Let's
Do you know?
Hello, Sega Zombie!
Sorry, Paul.
I was expecting to see that sandwich picture, the bacon sandwich.
I can now listen.
Go on, do it.
I have to change the.
Oh,
hang on, I've got this one.
Oh, that's a long time
I
ago.
think that's a sausage sandwich.
Yeah, I was going to say sausage sandwich.
Paul was. This was covert operations over in Baghdad. This is so. There's this one. That's the.
There it is.
That's nice. That's good. Look at that. That's good.
And then we've got my mate Ainsley. Get on you, boys. Right, let's get back to the
Ainsley Harriet was responsible for a great chocolate fondant recipe that I live by. Actually, his cookbook, one of the first cookbooks I ever had. I got his and Anthony Worrell Thompson's, and yeah, the Ainsley one. It was a really good, super simple chocolate fondant pot.
I don't know if I should say this, but I worked with Ainsley Harriet when he was a no one at Arsenal football stadium in Highbury when I was working there. And he also worked at Lord's cricket ground. And he did actually do the Percy Pepper and Susie Salt in the kitchen. He did that. And yeah, and everyone thought he was a bender, which is not a problem. Like I'm not fussed, maths to math. Regardless, he was married. His wife used to pick him up after we finished service. His wife used to drive up the front and pick him up, and everyone was like, "I swear he was a bender." But anyway,
Was he married?
He's married. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Because but lovely guy, and he was hilarious. At Lord's, he used to do all his jerk chicken, all of his Caribbean stuff. Like he was bang on that. A really nice guy, and he's this
Another Ainsley Harriet fact. Do you know he was a Gelf in Red Dwarf?
Say again.
Ainsley Harriet was a Gelf in Red Dwarf.
Yeah,
oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Hey, it's all connected. All this bollocks, it's all fun.
Yeah. It was the episode with the emo Hulk, wasn't it? He was one of them in that. Yeah.
Let's see. Sega Zombie. Sorry, mate. We got
my question.
Listen, Ty hasn't stopped talking. I'm sorry, mate. I'll mute him in a minute. He's fucking.
Another community question. This is from YouTuber Eddie Rollercore.
Oh.
Did any guests have any unusual backstage riders in GamesMaster?
You think we gave the guests a backstage riders? There's
and a table.
There's no. I should know the No, I don't. Did we? It's weird. I didn't really see that side. I didn't normally I like to kind of chat to the guests on set. I didn't really kind of go into their dressing rooms to see what was going on. They might have, for all I know, they might have had, barbecued squid, for all I know.
That's on the retro tip. That'd definitely be him. What's this? Ainsley wants to give you a spicy meat or rub. Yeah, he does he does all those faces. He did that in the kitchen. Anyway. That's hilarious. Fuck's sake. Hang on.
I think Ainsley Harriet made it because of his personality as well as his cooking.
They were his one-liners, weren't they?
You need to remember, back in them days, the 80s, 90s, we had Keith Floyd, who was pissed all the time, which was great.
Yeah. My hero.
Yeah, and you had Ken Hom. Ken Hom used to be on the old telly. And then you had, I forgot his name, the other geezer. Oh, shit. One on food and drink. Anyway, you didn't have many. So when he come along, he was a breath of fresh air. And he's actually quite good. Andy Worrell Thompson was the first one to be one of the first TV chefs on a boat and all this kind. He did some weird stuff. And then obviously he got done for nicking stuff out of Tesco's, was it? Or whatever he did. But
he used to have a great place where I lived, actually, when we were doing GamesMaster. He had a place around the corner from where I lived in Ladbroke Grove in London. And what it was good, it was the first time I ever went to a restaurant where it was a no choice. He prepared a 3-course meal. And if you had dietary things, he would substitute stuff in. And I loved that. And I ended up eating stuff I normally wouldn't eat. And what he did was that he went around all the tables at the end of service, just chatting. And I love that touch. Gordon Ramsay did that when I went to the Boxwood, when he opened up the Boxwood. And he went around all the tables and everything. I think that's great. I love talking. Well, you can tell I love talking to chefs. it's fascinating. You know.
That's anytime, Dom. You've got my email address, mate.
Guys, I've got to do a daddy duty. My little girl's calling me, so I'll be back
bless.
Yeah.
in 1 minute.
So say bye to Scott then, because he's going now. I'm chucking him off.
I'll be back in a second.
I will need to wrap this up at some point as well.
No
guys.
problem. No problem. Right. Okay. So I pressed the wrong button again. Lee, over to you, sir. What's your question?
Right, so my question's from Matt, also known as Retro Skelly on YouTube. He's asked, what was the process behind picking a challenge, and was you involved in that process?
The challenges were picked by the team of researchers, and it was one of the best. Again, that changed between Series 1 and Series 2. Series 1 and Series 2 was more kind of pure gaming challenges. When we got into Series 4, 5, 6 onwards, we were kind of looking for kind of more entertainment angles than just straight challenges and things that could run for the course of a whole show and everything. But when it came down to the straight, do this in 3 minutes, do this in 5 minutes, whatever, it was one of my favorite times. Would be every couple of weeks in pre-production, I would come in and the researchers would say, right, here's the challenges that we have. Do you want to play through them and see what you think? And that was just brilliant. I would just get to sit and do that. And the researchers were so good. There was most of them I'd be like, yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. So it was more a case of I would come in at the end and say everything had to run by me, especially Series 4, 5, 6, 7. So they would get the stuff ready and they would pitch them basically and say, right, here's what we've come up with, Dominik. What do you think? And 99 times out of 100, I'd be like, this is absolutely fantastic.
Nice.
Oh, right. Let me just we go.
Hello, chef.
Yeah, that's me, mate.
Thank you.
That is me. I am the chef. My question is from the Hobby Lodge. I like this question because I like a bit of Crime Watch. So this is kind of interluding. When you left GamesMaster, was there anything you managed to get your fingers on? And did you get a golden joystick? It's like, is there anything you thought, oh, you know what, I'll have that for the old kitchen, or I'll have that for this? Or was there anything you really wanted you didn't get, or vice versa, something you did get off a set, for example?
Do you know what? The boring answer is no. I wish I had. I've got 2 golden joysticks now, which were both basically made for me. There's a guy called Richard Long something. I can't. Sounds a bit naughty, but anyway, he basically makes. He made one for me, an absolute replica, and he sent it all the way to Canada from the UK. So I have that, and then my mate Neil here in Calgary, who I met when I started doing a radio show out here, and I got this weird Twitter message saying, "Oh, I'm Scottish as well. We should go for a beer." And I'm like, "Oh, that happens everywhere you go in Canada. It's obviously some psycho stalker." And he was, but he's become one of my best mates, so that's okay. And his wife Sarah is incredibly arty, and she made a GamesMaster golden joystick for me for one birthday, and it actually has on it, ironically, it says GamesMaster Series 8. And so she was like, that's the series that we're never going to see. And then unfortunately,
you never know.
Rebooted it. Well, no, they did, unfortunately, didn't they? And
no, we don't want to talk about that.
No, we're not.
Well, that was 3 episodes. That wasn't a series.
It's not canon. It's not canon, as they say. It's not canon.
Yeah, it's not canon. That's it.
Not
I have to ask though,
apparently, and I know because I went on. Rick Henderson has a podcast. Well, I mean, he calls it a podcast. I think he's done 2 episodes, and he's hopeless at getting stuff out. So I chatted with him, and he asked me why I stole if I still had Stephen Hendry's snooker cue. And I'm like, what? And when I say about things I don't remember, apparently he said when Stephen Hendry was on GamesMaster, I nicked his snooker cue, and he was not happy. And I don't remember that. And I know I say that about the partying, but I know at times it maybe didn't look like it, but when we actually filmed the show, I was completely sober, cold sober, straight edge, and everything like that. So it's not. I'm amazed that I don't remember that. I don't think it's the kind of thing I would do. I went through a stage. I used to steal a lot of salt and pepper pots from restaurants. I'm sure that would really. Yeah, that's I always did those classic things. But I steal the odd picture from a pub. But I don't think I would. I don't think I'd have the balls to steal a world snooker champion snooker cue because they're quite important to them. These things.
Yeah, they take them everywhere, don't they?
What's that hanging up behind you then?
What?
Is that a snooker cue?
What game was Stephen Hendry there to play?
He played a golf game. It was actually Rick
Why did he have
first
his snooker cue?
commentary.
They take them everywhere.
I think it was. Yeah, they do. I think they do. They don't like to leave.
Oh,
Them
well,
around.
maybe.
He played it between tournaments or something like that. But yeah, no, he played. It was one of those first. They got them in a lot of pubs and that now. Those golf simulators where you actually swing the real club and hit the ball. He played one of them.
No. Paul, over to you, sir.
Okay, so quickly moving on. This is from OSG, who's a huge Commodore fan like myself, brilliant YouTuber, and his question is this: Dominik, what do you think of season 3 when Dexter Fletcher was at the helm?
Okay, well, it's what it's a lot like I think of the reboot, and that I never watched it. I never watched a minute of it. I watched. I remember, and again, I talk about this a lot in the book. I watched the start of it. I was in a hotel somewhere. I was in the middle of a tour for promoting Mortal Kombat. I did a massive nightclub tour with that, and so I saw that first bit when they held up the burnt red jacket, and they were like, "This blank's burnt out," and I was like, "Oh, you fucking arseholes! You didn't need to do that."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Click, boom! Now I must destroy you." So what is interesting, what is brilliant is the good thing about the book being delayed was originally we didn't get Dexter Fletcher to be involved, and he didn't have a great time on the show, and so we kept trying to get him to be interviewed and just crickets. But because of the delay, we got him in the end.
Nice.
And I wrote him a note actually at one point, and I said, I've never met Dexter, and I wrote him a note and said, "Listen, mate, I said, just want you to know that all these people's recollections of Series 3 who work with you behind the scenes, they love you. They said you were an absolute professional, you were a stand-up guy, and what people don't realize is how much behind the scenes shit was falling apart Series 3, and he had to carry the can." And I said, "Listen, I said, your family, your GamesMaster family, mate. So I'd love you to do an interview for it." And he did, and he's in the book.
Nice guy as well, apparently. Really nice guy.
He is, and the thing is, I think that will change a lot of people's views about that series, because it's ridiculous that even now, this guy will get slagged off, and he's like a fucking Hollywood director.
Yeah.
It's like. So,
I think the problem is he just wasn't you, Dominic. That's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
I likened it to having Red Dwarf without Lister. That's the best way I can put it.
And I've seen the other side of that coin in radio in Canada. If you take over a breakfast show from someone on the radio, if they've been, oh my God, you just get a wall of hate, because it's people get really close and they feel really close to them. So whenever you're the guy that takes over from someone, I've had it, and it doesn't matter how good you are, you're not the guy. And so it's and you're right. That's the whole part of it. I don't think he didn't do a bad job at all. I thought he looked fuck of a lot cooler than I did in Series 2. For a start, that jumpsuit and all that was a great look, and I thought the prison setting was good. And it's funny when you that amazing montage you did of the opening titles for the intro here. That's the most incredible opening title series of speedboats and everything in that one.
But you weren't originally in control of your own wardrobe, though, were you? Until was it
Series 4? Yeah.
And then that's when we got to the real Dominik Diamond coming out.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Sai, over to you.
My question is for my wife and also from Pete on a retro tip, and it's is it Patrick Moore? Did you ever actually have any dealings with him? Was he a gamer? Did you have any with the actual GamesMaster himself, or was everything he did recorded completely away from all of you?
So I'm just wondering why your wife and this guy are asking the same question.
No, they just both came up with the same question.
I'm sure it's just a coincidence. No, Patrick did all this stuff completely separate from me. I didn't write any of Patrick's stuff. He just turned up in a little green screen studio and did it, and I only met him once, and I'm quite regretful about that. I wish I'd met him more. I met him on the very last day that he was filming, and I was just leaving. No, I was coming in to do some audio stuff, and he was leaving, and we met in the corridor and we chatted for a bit about cricket, and because we both loved cricket. and that was it. And I wish I'd hung out with him more. It would have been a bit weird because we're probably, getting up to different things in our spare time. I can't imagine.
Well, you never know.
I can't imagine Patrick Moore, in the Atlantic bar toilets would be hoovering up a big fat line of Charlie. That would have been a bit interesting. So, splendid. But I was genuinely profoundly saddened when he passed away, because I woke up over here in Canada to all these messages saying, "Oh, we're sorry for your loss," and are you okay? And I realised that people treated us as a comedy double
yeah, that's
act.
I mean, because they're always on TV. That's what I mean.
So that was so that I was a bit sad that I didn't get to know him a bit better than that.
Do you think he actually knew what he was saying, or was he just completely reading from a script?
Completely reading from a script, and that is what makes him so phenomenal. I say in the book that I think he is one of the most underrated comic performers in television, because he would turn up and he would just nail the delivery. Brilliant delivery. He was a great deliverer of a punchline.
Was he always the first pick to be the GamesMaster, or was there anybody else?
No, the first pick of GamesMaster was insane. You will not believe it. And that's in the book, and I cannot.
I knew that was going to come.
But it's crazy. It would have been completely different. It would have been a good choice, but you could not have picked a more different person.
Is it as crazy as O.J. Simpson playing the Terminator?
It's up there. It's up there with that.
Okay,
Mr. Zombie, sir.
Yeah, the next community question is from Jay Cybersnake, fantastic YouTuber. My question is, what was... Oh, my phone's just gone off. What was Dominik's favourite season and episodes?
Nice. Well, I think we kind of said it before. Season 7 was the most fun, without a doubt.
Yeah.
In terms of the... and interviewing Mark Hamill was probably the single kind of greatest thing that I did. Series 4 was fun. 5, 6, series 7. Sorry, I know I hate repeating an answer that I gave earlier. Sorry, but yeah.
No, that's fair enough.
In terms of, it's difficult to think of one individual episode, because we didn't film them episode by episode. We would basically we would have all the filming. That's when we do all the games challenges and all the intros, outros, and links into bits. So it wasn't. I mean, I can think of like I think the one challenge, let's answer that a different way. The one challenge that I had the most fun at was with Rick Henderson, and it was Regis and Jarrett doing the Athlete Kings on the Sega arcade game. Nice. And they were just such a laugh. We did a whole lot of jokes about lycra and little things wiggling inside lycra shorts, and they just got it. They just absolutely got it. They got the sense of humor, and they were a couple of great guys. So that was a lot of fun. But it's difficult. There wasn't. I mean, it was all fun. There wasn't. Yeah. I can't think of any time I was ever on, after I got series 2 out of the way, but 4, 5, 6, and 7, I can't remember a moment I was on that set and I felt less than utterly happy, excited, thrilled to be there.
That's fair enough. Mr. Geezer?
Right, so question I've got here is from Sean, Pompey Games Room. How long would a GamesMaster episode take to film? And was there many challenges that got cut or sections of the show that never made it to the screen?
We would normally take about, if I remember correctly, about 10 days to 2 weeks to film all the challenges and all the on-set stuff. And then all the features we would then do, we would get them done in one trip. So we would go over to America for like a week and film all the kind of things like that. We went over to Japan for a week and filmed them all like that. Nice. Because of the economies involved in TV, you do everything in blocks like that. Funnily enough, there's not the most infamous bit that was cut out was actually on series 3, when apparently when Paul Whitehouse is in the trailer for it and never appeared on the actual show. No. And I don't even know why this will probably be in the book as well. For some reason, they cut his challenge out and he's on the trailer for it. So yeah, that's probably the most famous one. In fact, that's the only one. That's the only one I can think of.
Fair enough. Yeah. Are you okay to go till 2:30 your time, Dominik? Is that okay with you?
I can take it to 2:30, yeah.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Right, okay. So I keep pressing the wrong.
And it's I know it's just in case people are like, oh, if I dumb it down, what am I? It's literally, and it's the weird thing. I've got a job. I've got a job offer that has come through, and it's a time sensitive thing that I have to read the offer letter.
Season 8. Season 8.
No, it's not. It's a radio. It's a radio thing in Canada. It's not season 8. Sorry.
Okay. No, we totally appreciate that. I'm gonna ask a question from the crowd. I'm just gonna find one. So just talk amongst yourself for a second. Just wet your whistle, Dom, because you're sounding a bit croaky, mate. I don't know if you need to get a whiskey out or something, bruv.
Well, you have a look. Dom, have you been to a Wendy Burgers yet? Oh no, you don't. Are you allowed to eat meat when you escape?
They do a vegan burger.
Honestly, they do.
Wendy Burgers were just the best, man.
Wendy's a great. My favorite one here, the A&W they have in Canada, which is really good, and they were the first ones to do a plant-based meat burger,
really?
And it's absolutely fantastic. I have to say that's and again, 90s Dominik would probably be absolutely spitting at me, but all the Beyond Meat stuff is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, there is some good stuff. There is some good stuff.
Boy, oh boy! I mean, I'm just waiting for the day when we find out, there's something in it that's actually going to give us all, some horrible thing. But it's quite amazing. I don't miss that. It's interesting, and I have fake chicken nugget stuff in that, and it tastes the same. But then chicken nuggets never really fucking
taste of anything.
Chicken.
Exactly.
Do you have a question, Lee? Because if not, I've got one.
You jump, mate, because I'm just going through. Because a lot of the questions they're asking, we've kind of done. So I'm just going to go through. So you go.
Yeah, my question is this, right? You made the GamesMaster back in the 90s and everything else. Would you believe that retro gaming would be such a big thing in 2020 now?
Good question.
And that your show is still talked about and that people are still doing the challenges all these years later?
Yeah, no, I mean, no and no is the answer. And I don't think, I'm not sure which one surprises me the most. I think that it's, I think we always have love for old TV shows and we'll still go back and watch them. So maybe it's less surprising that people remember GamesMaster fondly, but the boom in retro gaming,
it's ridiculous.
I think is absolutely ridiculous because with any, you would think that as technology gets better and better, you wouldn't bother with the older stuff. But, and again, this is the whole kind of raison d'etre behind the Guardian column and the column on Substack is that there is just such a horrible degree of cynicism about modern gaming and modern releasing. They release games that are bug to fuck, that need patches, they need updates. And when we got games, they came in a cartridge and that was it. And it was finished. And you put it in and it had a beginning and a middle and an end. And they didn't fuck about and rush it out just to, just to fleece people for money. And also I think that there was the constraints that were put on you by 16-bit machines, and I think 16-bit, 1632, probably both equally as much. The constraints that were put on you required a level of programming brilliance that is not matched today. When you can make games 120 gigabytes, what the fuck is that?
The thing is, the homebrew scene.
Why does a game need to be 120 gigabytes? We put a Land Rover on the surface of Mars with less fucking memory than that. It's just ridiculous, and it only means you can be lazy. It's like making a football goal 50 meters wide, right? You're going to score, but the shot's going to be shit and go anywhere. So I think that's probably why, because modern gaming is such a lazy,
have we just lost him?
He did say he was in a storm, bless him.
Yeah. Oh dear, yeah, he's got a storm in Canada, isn't he?
Got a storm. Well, that's one way to leave the stream.
And
freeze frame.
He's either really good at charades or he's the world.
Larry Bundy did this last time.
Yeah, we give him a couple of minutes just to.
Will he have to go in and out again? Come out of the stream.
I'm assuming so. Do you think
that's
he's
almost
just going
like a good innuendo? That's almost GamesMaster level.
There you go.
You're learning. I like it.
let me just remove him and I'll wait for him to come back. But But so far, so good. He's actually not as bad as I thought he was going to be. He's... no, to be honest. No, why are you laughing?
Lovely.
I'm being honest. He's actually dropped off now, so we'll see if he comes back on. He's got the link. But no, so far, so good.
But he did say at the beginning that he is in the middle of a big storm, though, isn't he? So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's Canada, I think they have...
yeah, it's. I always remember my first day living in Canada. I was told this is one of the few places in the world you can experience all 4 seasons in one day, and
Yeah.
it was true. They were true to the word. You really can. It's crazy over there.
Well, this would be an excuse to get him on for part 2 if he fucks off.
Well, now this is the joys of modern technology. Like I say, though, it has been a really interesting chat with him. If he doesn't come back, some of the stuff that he said and stories and everything he's got, that people really do need to go and get his book and listen to that podcast.
Yeah, the podcast is really honestly. He said that the free version was like 1,000 words, but like they go on, they're all over 10 minutes long, I would say, when you're listening to them. And yeah, he's really, you can feel like his passion is like really, it's there, it's burning, and like for him to be just coming back now, it's an exciting time to have him on the stream, and like, yeah, there's so much good content is going to come from that. I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
Absolutely, really is. Chef, does it look like we have lost him?
Yeah, well, he's not back at the second, so we'll give it a little bit.
See, the whole thing with this street for me is it's revisiting your childhood, isn't it? Like you're talking to someone that you used to watch on the TV when you was a kid. How crazy is that?
Yeah,
it's just
it's a bit more hairy than I remembered, but
aren't we all? Aren't we all?
Well, fucking size. Look at him. Fuck me. Looks like
I know.
Hair, isn't it?
I was born with this.
Yeah, bless him. But look, you're on commission, size. That's what.
Yeah, that's my missus.
That's your
she
missus.
did put a question in which I was going to ask him next, but if she was trying to show me up, I think, because her question was, "How would you sum up GamesMaster to a person who's never seen it?"
I'll tell you what, mate.
I can answer that. It's about games.
If I got a chance for another question, it was going to be obviously apart from GamesMaster, what was your favorite games TV show? Because I did a poll a few weeks ago, and GamesMaster came out massively on top, like huge. What was your favorite one? So it'd be interesting to hear from Dominik which was his favorite one, other than GamesMaster.
Because the thing is, Bad Influence. What I liked about Bad Influence was that it was different. Like not in the fact that it was better, it was just different.
It wasn't better.
I think the thing with Bad Influence and GamesMaster and Dom mentioned that is passion.
Yes,
and
yeah,
Bad Influence come across.
Bad Influence was very clinical.
Yeah, they were presenters that didn't give a shit about
yeah,
and the industry, but GamesMaster, the people involved, were passionate about games, and I think that was the big difference between the two.
I think that's why the challenges were so awesome, because it was challenges that you would have loved to have done, so it drew you in. Do you know what I mean? And only people who were into gaming could create that, and you were like, "Oh, I wish I was on there. I could do that, and I could have a real chance at winning that golden joystick before Dave Perry kicks your ass."
I love the he's like this. I love when he said about it. Is it Dave Perry? No, it's not. It's Ali, 16 Bits and Bobs. I thought that was great. I don't know, Scott. Violet Berlin has been involved with games for years, mate.
Yeah, no, she has. I'm thinking more Andy Crane, because I know.
Well, yeah. I mean, Andy Crane. We've had.
Wasn't Violet a playable character in Micro Machines as well?
She was. Yes.
She was.
Yeah, they mentioned it in one of the episodes of Bad Influence. I watched Bad Influence, but I'm just going on the fact that what made GamesMaster so special is everyone involved. If they weren't writing in a magazine, like Mean Machines or CMVG, everyone involved with that program was heavily into the industry. And I think with Bad Influence, I think Violet Berlin got into gaming by doing it.
Yeah.
But Andy Crane has said many, many times and been quoted in saying that he was just a TV presenter. He didn't really care.
It's the same as
I can't believe Dom fucked off because the fact that he's back. Sorry. No,
He's back.
Do you know what happened there?
You thought at least said half an up to 9:30, and then you're going to do one.
I'm out.
Did you see my lights flickering before everything went off?
Lightning strike.
I think the house got so. I mean, because again, this is when I say thunder and lightning. This isn't your little pissy little British where they're like, "Oh, there's a leaf on the track. We can't run the train." Literally, there's electrical sheet lighting in my street, and I think the house got hit by a bolt, and everything just went off. And I just suddenly thought, and then I saw when I powered everything back up, I got an email from you, Lee, saying, "Is everything okay?" And part of me wanted to get one of my kids to reply, "No, he died."
Exclusive.
Yeah. Said, can I have his 2 golden joysticks to fill piano? No, thank you for coming back. That's good of you. Because there's a few people saying, "Hey, he's a fuck." I was like, "No, hang on a minute. This is Dominik Diamond. Don't be like that. He's a good guy. Don't be fucking." I don't know.
Act of God.
No, thank you. Let's. My question was going to be, because we were just talking about it actually. From not my question. Sorry, it was a question. I can't find it now. I've lost it. But I think it was Roland Reviews. Sorry, is it Roland Reviews? One of the guys that Sai knows, is it?
Oh yeah. Go on then. Do that.
Yeah. He put.
Is it still in the street? It's still really bad lightning there.
Fuck it! It's absolutely horrific.
I can hear it.
Yeah.
Luckily, I'm in the basement. I don't think a direct hit will kill me.
He's got his kids inside. He's got his kids with a bit of sheet metal rattling it like fucking Rolf Harris.
Tin hat on.
Don't mention Rolf Harris now.
I was going to say
sorry,
that.
My bad.
Anyway, moving on.
No, what it was is one of the guys said you had your channel, your channel, and you had Bad Influence. Did you have any kind of I don't want to say rivalry because it never seemed like that. But did you have any kind of conversation with Andy or with Violet, or was there anything you ever crossed over with, or was it just completely you never watched it, never like anything with them?
Violet Berlin is one of the loveliest people on
thank
the planet.
God.
So much of
I thought you were going to say something else, Ben.
No, so much of this GamesMaster book is me apologizing to Violet for horrible, mean things I said about Bad Influence, because she contributed to the book. And I was an absolute arsehole, not to her personally, no, because I was pretty two-faced. Whenever I saw her, "Hey, Violet, how you doing?" and everything, blah, blah, blah. And then someone asked me in an interview, "What about Bad Influence?" "Oh, it's worse than Hitler." So I feel really bad. It was just part of this monster that I kind of became in the 90s. But I did see it as a rivalry, and I was quite offensive about that show. So it was really bad. They didn't deserve it. I don't think I ever met Andy, but I certainly met Violet a lot of times, and she loves her games, loves her tech, an absolute fantastic human being. Yeah,
that's what we were saying is that it's 2 completely different shows, because what we said was with you there was passion. You could see with everyone it was more. Everyone was enjoying what they're doing with them, because Andy, I've spoken to Andy, and he said I'm not a gamer. He's quite from the beginning said to me, I'm not a gamer, Lee. I'm not really interested. But Violet Berlin I spoke to her. She was lovely. She still got her toes in bits and pieces. Yeah. But there was no passion, and I don't mean that in a mean way. I don't mean in a horrible way. It was just 2 completely different programs. You know what I mean? Which I think was good. Because it wasn't like they were copying or vice versa. No, but it was just different. It was just different for its time.
Yeah, it was a good show. It's a good show.
Yeah. Paul.
Well, yeah, I was just while you were having a quick sandwich in the background there when you went off.
I was going for my emergency pie.
I was just showing everyone. I did a poll on my channel a few weeks ago, and there was quite a few votes on it. But I think you should see this because it's quite impressive that GamesMaster.
1 minute, Paul. 1 minute, Paul.
Oh, yeah.
This was what was your favorite video game show in the UK, and GamesMaster come in at 85% and absolutely obliterated everyone else. So
that's a runaway winner. I'm glad that they. Yeah, that's good. That's that's
very well done.
kind of
I
them.
thought you made a fantastic show, and yeah, good stuff.
What is Chef drinking there?
That is
that good old fashioned Kiora diluting orange.
No. my wife. I love my wife. She mandarins, Cypriot mandarins, squash with sugar. So it's basically orange squash but fresh. It's the bollocks.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Keeps me refreshed while I was chewing the fuck out of my nails because you fucked off and left us. To
be fair, in Canada, I was coming into land at Calgary Airport, and it's the only place my plane got struck by lightning. And ever since that moment, I've been absolutely shit scared of flying. I hate flying now. You can ask anyone.
It's so weird though. It literally is just 1 month a year out here. Calgary is known as the Alberta's blue sky country. It's sunny. I mean, it's cold. It gets like minus 35, 36 in the winter, but the sky's always blue and it's always sunny. Apart from in June, for some reason, June it's almost like a monsoon thing. It just absolutely shits.
It's because it's the only month when it will be absolutely baking hot, but instead you just get cloud.
Yeah,
it's almost like Scotland.
Yeah. Go on, Si.
Have I got more on here? Go to Scott.
Go on, Scott. I've got one. This is from James Evans, Super Jim Tendo. Are you still active in the gaming scene? And if so, what are you playing and what are your favourite games?
There we go.
Well, I said Horizon Zero Dawn is what I'm playing just now, and I absolutely love that. I'm struggling with a lot of the podcasts so far have been me keeping on giving eFootball 2022 from Konami another chance with the latest patch and update that they've done. I'm desperate to like it because I think that we need an alternative to FIFA. And it's just the absolute.
Well, there's no FIFA next year.
No, that's right. Yeah, but I mean, there'll be the game, but obviously, the sponsorship's all up in there. But unfortunately, Konami absolutely shit the bed. Like no other company has ever shit the bed with a games franchise in the history of gaming with that release. And it was absolutely shocking. So I'm trying to play that, but I'm not enjoying it. I've been playing God of War. Well, this is what I love about the Netflixication of games. So I have PS Now, PS Plus. It's all kind of just merged, and I have the Xbox Ultimate. So I think that they actually, for someone like me who's trying to go back and look at the last 10 years of gaming where I haven't played, it's brilliant because there's so much great stuff on there. The fact you've got God of War and Horizon Zero Dawn on PS Now just now for your subscription is absolutely phenomenal. So it's those two and eFootball 2022 are the ones.
Just talking about football, England are losing 3-0 to Hungary.
I know.
I love that. Have you just alleged that in case anyone's trying to record it for later?
Yeah, Scotland won 4-1.
Well, they won 4-1.
Yeah,
that's why. That's what I've just had a text from. I said my Scottish pal Neil. I've got two Scottish pals here, Jamie and Neil, and one of them's Jamie's just posted me. I texted me a picture of a Hungarian flag and a smiling face. That's it.
Dominic,
put it this way: I'm gonna have a rough day at work tomorrow.
Yeah, you will do. Yeah. Dom, can you read that bottom message, please? Because that's Sega Zombie's missus. Do you mind giving her a little shout out?
Yeah, I just want Dominic to give me a shout out. I was such a big fan of GamesMaster. All right, JD. Shout out.
Done.
That's it. We've sorted Scott out now. He's got to do nothing this weekend. Legs up.
Yeah, brownie points. Brilliant.
That's it, bro. Lee, anything from you before we let?
I suppose I better get it in. Otherwise, the missus will moan at me. So she asked the question: how would you sum up? Yeah. How would you sum up GamesMaster to a person who's never seen it?
Wow.
Well, I mean, that is kind of impossible, really. You could say if it was to someone of this, like if it was to a kid today or a millennial, and you tried to say and sum up GamesMaster to them, you say, you see your esports, yeah, we invented that, but it was funny.
Yeah.
That's it.
And we
That's
could
it in
steal
a
what we
nutshell.
wanted.
Yeah, it was funny and it was weird, and we also set it on oil rigs and desert islands and heaven and hell, and by that stage their brains would be leaking out their ears. They wouldn't be able to
forget the knob
understand that you could have
Yeah.
so much kind of creative, witty content to do with video games, because it's certainly you don't get a lot of it in esports or these
Do you
days.
think, Dom, that in today's society that GamesMaster could even be broadcast on TV now?
Not the 90s version. But
No.
those shows couldn't be. No, and rightly so. So it's a very different world that we're in now. And this was interesting when when I was having discussions with them about the reboot, and part of me was like, you know what? If I don't come back as 90s Dominik, then I think it's a bit of a cop out.
Yeah.
And if they want to not make it like that, GamesMaster was GamesMaster. It was of its time, and that and so if I'd have come back and with a kind of like a safe down the middle of the road, no knob gags, no dangerous stuff, I think people would have been like, I couldn't do it. I wouldn't do that to the original fans. So no, you couldn't have it today. Not
Fans
not in
only.
that style.
Fans only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything from anyone else before I do my last question?
Yeah, I'm all good.
Lee,
All good.
Paul, no.
Yeah. No.
It's just been a pleasure to have you, mate. It really has.
Yeah, it's been an
absolutely.
absolute, it's been brilliant, mate.
Sorry
like
that I
was
nearly
on a
nearly
teenager.
died in the middle of it.
Yeah, how dare you?
No.
Before we all say proper goodbyes, my last question, Dominik, to you is, hand on heart, sir, is there any regrets? I'm not saying with GamesMaster. I'm just saying, just in general, is there something you think? Oh, you know what? Maybe if I did this or with that, I don't know. I don't know if that's a bit of a deep question. Is there anything you think? Oh, I wish I did that, or you just like all of us, because we see it and we think we're really happy with how everything was done. Or was there something you thought?
Yeah,
oh, you know what?
I once had a Mohican that I let grow a little bit, and I had a little beard that kind of matched it, and for some reason, and a little moustache. For some reason, I chose that look when I was asked to host What the Papers Say, the prestigious newspaper review program on the BBC. And unfortunately, it's one of those pictures that always fucking comes up whenever you Google my name.
I've seen it on Google.
It is the most insane, ridiculous, embarrassing look.
I wish I'd known that before the stream.
I did put that up. I don't know what I was thinking of. I've done a lot of weird things with hair and facial hair and hair dye that I really regret. That's the biggest. I mean, this is what McKenny says to anyone. I left Radio 96.5 and Halifax, Nova Scotia morning show to go and do 102.1 The Edge in Toronto. It was the biggest mistake of my life, but it was the biggest indie music station in all of Canada, and it was the realization of a dream. But I ended up working with two people who
have you been to Oak Island? Because I watch it all the time.
Do you know what? No, I haven't. But it's funny because I used to live just in that's where I lived in Nova Scotia, was the South Shore. I lived in a place called Mahone Bay, right? And it's just from Lunenburg, and I could see Oak Island from where I lived. So yeah.
Dominik, thank you so much. You are exactly how I expected you to be, just a little bit more hairier. Fantastic, mate. No, listen, seriously, it's been absolutely fantastic. We're all buzzing. We're all buzzing to do this. It's been awesome. 4-0 England. Fucking hell. Oh my God. Listen, someone must have been shot. Did that lightning bounce off your ass and get over the
Here's the thing, though. Aren't they playing in Wolverhampton tonight? They're Molyneux.
Oh, this is all your fault.
I blame you. You.
He's cursed them. He's cursed them.
No, seriously, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. Side, do you want to say anything before we do our last little outro?
It's just been an absolute amazing pleasure to have you here and hearing the stories and everything else. I mean, it's great. It's just thanks so much.
Well, thanks, guys. Keep fighting the good fight that you're doing. Just keep all this retro stuff alive, guys.
Yeah.
You know.
Mr. Zombie, anything from you?
Just that you've been a true gent, Dom, and this has been a fantastic stream. And I know a lot of people out there that have been watching this are going to really enjoy it. And we've just been, sitting around the bar table having a chat. It's been great.
I'm just pleased I can make your wife happy.
Yes, that's brilliant.
Well, what about Lee? Lee, what about you, Lee? Anything from you, brother?
Well, for me,
he just wants his dinner.
Yeah. No, it's been like it is exactly like revisiting your childhood, and I don't know if you realise it or not, Dominic, but you are important to a lot of us, and if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing now. So
yeah. No, that is a big thing. Yeah.
Paul, anything from you?
I feel very humble. Thank you.
For me, can I just say that 6:30 on a Thursday is a very special time.
Yeah, definitely.
And has it gone off? Am I still there? I'm still there. 6:30 on a Thursday. 6:30 on a Thursday is a very special time. I used to be at my nana's that night, and I used to be able to watch GamesMaster on Channel 4. And I'm very aware that that's exactly the same time as when your column cast
podcast drops. Yeah, every week. That's why I drop at that time. Yeah, 6:30 Thursday.
Yet again, I'm there at 6:30, waiting to listen to you. And let long may continue. Thank you.
Cool.
Right.
Well, here's hoping the lightning doesn't get me then.
Dominic, would you like to say anything? Tom, would you want to say anything? Because obviously you're with me, the chef, and the guys. Anything, just just anything come off the tongue. Anything?
Oh, we're back to someone's wife. No, they
love it.
Well, I'm pleased the show meant a lot to you guys. I'm pleased the show meant a lot to people who have gone on and kind of kept that passion alive, and long may it continue. And thank you very much. And if people want to at Dominik Diamond at Twitter, if they want to subscribe to the podcast, that would be absolutely fantastic. I'll keep it going for as long as is possible. So that's cool.
Perfect. Right, this is the last one. But try not to cry, Dom, because this probably will put you there.
For a level
Wrong one. Sorry.
So that's it. I would like to personally thank the many talented people that have worked on this show. They will all go on to bigger things, but somehow none of them will seem quite as self-indulgent as GamesMaster. I know some people might have thought it's been flippant. To some people, it might seem as if it's been in bad taste, but it was made with the total conviction that to you, the viewers, it meant something. So I guess really now with the last link of the last series, I should come up with the funniest gag in the history of GamesMaster, but I can't.